Lakers star Luka Dončić went down hard overseas in exhibition play. The injury is not considered to be serious. Stephen A., is playing in Eurobasket a bad idea for Luka?
Normally I would say yes, but in this case I'm going to say no.
Welcome back to NBA Hoops, the place where we break down the biggest storylines in basketball with the depth and detail that goes beyond the headlines. Today, we're diving into Luka Doncic's recent injury scare overseas while representing his home country in Eurobasket, and the fiery debates sparked by Stephen A. Smith's comments about whether Luka should even be playing internationally in the first place. On the surface, this might just look like another injury scare. But when you dig deeper, it becomes clear that this moment is about far more than one player limping off the floor. It's about risk, responsibility, and the ongoing collision between NBA business and international basketball pride. Stick around until the end, because we're going to connect every dot and show how this story is bigger than just Luka Dončić. The initial reports laid out the scare in straightforward terms. During an exhibition game leading into Eurobasket, Luka went down hard after a teammate accidentally fell onto his leg. For a few tense moments, the arena went silent. Fans, coaches, and the Lakers organization all held their breath as Luka grabbed at his leg in visible pain. He did manage to walk to the locker room under his own power, which was a relief, but the image of him grimacing immediately sent shockwaves through the NBA world. For the Lakers, this is no small subplot. This could be the nightmare scenario they feared since acquiring Luka in a blockbuster trade earlier this summer. When your brand new superstar, the face of your franchise and the centerpiece of your championship hopes, goes down in a non-NBA game, the stakes suddenly feel enormous. Every stumble is replayed. Every limp is overanalyzed. And that's why this story cuts so deep. On one hand, Luka showed toughness. He walked it off, reminded everyone of his resilience, and kept alive the image of a player willing to push through pain for the love of the game. But on the other hand, it highlighted just how vulnerable both Luka and the Lakers are when he puts his body on the line outside of NBA competition. The margin for error is razor thin, and the entire season could change in a single moment. This is where Stephen A. Smith and others come into the picture. They've raised a pointed question: why risk it? Why should Luka, a player whose NBA season carries so much weight, be playing high-intensity international basketball just weeks before the regular season tips off? Isn't it setting him up for disaster? But here's the reality. Luka's story isn't just about the Lakers. It's also about Slovenia. To his country, he's not just a player. He's a symbol of national pride, a hero expected to lead on the international stage. That emotional connection is powerful, and it's why Luka insists on suiting up, no matter the risk. His fans expect it, his nation needs it, and he feels that responsibility deeply. The bigger picture here is the collision between two worlds. On one side, the NBA is a business that wants to protect its assets and avoid catastrophic injuries. On the other, a nation sees Luka as theirs, a representation of pride and identity. Every time he steps onto the floor in a Slovenia jersey, those two forces crash head-on. And every time he goes down in pain, the spotlight on that conflict gets brighter. This is why Luka's scare overseas wasn't just a small headline. It was a reminder of the delicate balance between personal loyalty, national pride, and NBA business. And for the Lakers, the pressure is only beginning.
Competing for his home country of Slovenia, a teammate fell onto Doncic. However, he was able to walk to the locker room on his own despite being in visible pain.
The second wave of reporting shifted the spotlight to Stephen A. Smith, and his take brought a surprising twist. The immediate question after Luka's scare was simple: should he even be playing in Eurobasket at all? Normally, the assumption would lean toward caution. Why risk your body in international play when you're expected to carry the Lakers' championship hopes just weeks from now? But Stephen A. didn't follow the expected script. Instead, he argued that in Luka's case, it wasn't a bad idea. His reasoning was clear. Luka missed a significant portion of last season, dealing with injuries, fitness struggles, and inconsistency. For a player in that position, Eurobasket isn't just international basketball, it's a crucial proving ground. Think about what Stephen A. is really saying. Luka isn't simply rolling the dice with his health. He's making a calculated choice. By playing, he's regaining rhythm, testing his conditioning, and restoring the confidence that only comes through live competition. Exhibition or not, These games give him the chance to get his body and his game back in sync before the real grind of the NBA season begins. And here's where the setup narrative becomes even sharper. Luka's choice puts him in a no-win situation. If he skips Eurobasket, critics accuse him of ducking competition, shirking national pride, or avoiding the tough work of conditioning. If he plays, every bump, bruise, or scare becomes evidence that he's gambling recklessly with the Lakers' future. Either way, controversy follows. Yet by suiting up, Luka flips the narrative. He shows the world he values rhythm, toughness, and commitment above safety. And Stephen A's commentary gives him cover, essentially saying that sometimes the risk is worth it, and for Luka Dončić, the benefits outweigh the danger.
Injury is not considered to be serious. Stephen A, is playing in Eurobasket a bad idea for Luka?
Normally I would say yes, but in this case I'm going to say no.
Stephen A then takes the conversation a step further by revisiting Luka's performance last season, specifically pointing out his production before leaving Dallas and joining the Lakers. Despite being criticized by many for appearing out of shape, Luka's numbers were undeniable. He averaged nearly 29 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 assists per game. Those are elite, MVP-level stats by any standard, and he posted them while supposedly not in peak condition. That detail alone highlights just how rare his talent really is. This is where the idea of a setup becomes harder to ignore. Luka has already proven that even without perfect fitness, he can dominate the NBA. Now, with his renewed focus on conditioning and the added reps of international play, the stage is being set for him to take his game to an even higher level. Stephen A's reminder about Luka's statistical dominance isn't just commentary. It's a narrative push. It reframes Luka not as a player under scrutiny, but as one who has consistently exceeded expectations, even under less than ideal circumstances. And now, with Eurobasket giving him a platform to sharpen his body and rhythm, he has the chance to silence critics once and for all. This is where the so-called setup flips. Instead of undermining Luka, it builds anticipation. If he arrives in Los Angeles in the best shape of his career, that injury scare overseas becomes just another chapter in a bigger story of resilience. Luka becomes the star who got knocked down, walked it off, and came back stronger than ever. Stephen A's framing ensures that when people talk about the risks, they can't ignore the production. The pressure is enormous, but so is the opportunity. And this is exactly how legends are written.
Obviously, before in Dallas, before he got traded to the Los Angeles Lakers, and even though he was out of shape, a lot of people's eyes still averaged 28, 8, and 7.
When Stephen A. Smith says Luka Dončić is finally locked in on conditioning and appears to be in the best shape we've ever seen him, that isn't just casual analysis. It's a seismic warning shot to the rest of the NBA. Because let's be brutally honest, for years, the one criticism that actually stuck to Luka had nothing to do with skill. Everyone already knew he had the bag, the footwork, the shooting touch, the playmaking genius, the vision to manipulate defenses like a chessboard. But skeptics always circled back to the same point, conditioning. That was the easy critique. That was the excuse analysts leaned on when Luka lost a step late in games or when he showed up to training camp carrying a little extra weight. They would say, "He's relying too much on talent, not enough on fitness." That narrative followed him from Dallas to Los Angeles, always lurking in the background, even when his numbers were historic. Well, Stephen A. is now saying that narrative is dead. He's not just hinting, he's declaring that Luka is in the best shape of his entire career. And if that's true, the NBA landscape just shifted. Because Luka Dončić already shredded the league without peak conditioning. He posted triple-doubles against elite defenses when critics swore he looked gassed. He carried Dallas through grueling playoff series with inconsistent support around him. He did all of that while, frankly, not looking like the most conditioned star on the floor. Now imagine a Luka who is leaner, quicker, sharper, and capable of sustaining 40 minutes of dominance without hitting a wall. That is terrifying. It means the one glaring hole in Luka's armor has been sealed shut. His step-back jumper? It will be even crisper. His drives to the rim? More explosive. His ability to fight through switches, traps, and double teams? More relentless. A Luka with gas left in the tank is a Luka no defense can withstand. Stephen A. also points out another key element. Luka just signed a new 3-year deal. And while most people see contracts as financial security, this one symbolizes something greater. Luka already has the bag. He doesn't need to worry about chasing the next payday or negotiating leverage. With that out of the way, his focus has shifted entirely to chasing something bigger. Legacy. History. Immortality. Luka is no longer proving he belongs. He's no longer negotiating his worth. And he's certainly no longer wasting time responding to doubters. That phase of his career is over. The new phase is about one thing and one thing only: domination. A Luka in elite shape isn't just another MVP candidate. He's the kind of player who can string MVPs together in consecutive years. He's the type of superstar who can carry a franchise like the Lakers back to the finals and keep them there. He's the type of competitor who can take that last leap, the leap from being a basketball prodigy to being a basketball god. This isn't just about fitness, it's about mindset. Stephen A. is pointing to a Luka Dončić who has matured, who understands what greatness requires over the next decade. And that maturity, combined with peak conditioning, makes him the most dangerous version of himself we've ever seen. The league should be terrified. The version of Luka they managed to contain before is gone. This new Luka has the money, the body, the hunger, and the platform. Put those elements together, and you're not just looking at the face of the NBA's future. You may be staring at its most unstoppable force.
He's been on this conditioning tip, looks really, pretty much in the best shape we've ever seen him in. Just signed a new 3-year deal. You take all of those things into consideration, I would say that he's got his bag, he's got his money, and now he's out there trying to work himself into the best shape that he's ever been in his life.
Stephen A. Smith makes a powerful point here. He isn't just applauding Luka Dončić for finally embracing conditioning on his own terms. He's shining a spotlight on something bigger. He's elevating the broader truth about international players, their work ethic, their pride, and their relentless commitment to the game. When Stephen A. says he doesn't knock Luka one bit, it's because Luka has chosen a path that fits him. Some players chase the Hollywood lifestyle. Some get distracted by off-court ventures, business deals, or entertainment opportunities. Luka, on the other hand, is investing in his body, his conditioning, and his ability to elevate his game. That's where international stars often separate themselves from the pack. Think about the examples that came before him. Dirk Nowitzki, the ultimate model of sacrifice and discipline. Giannis Antetokounmpo, who transformed himself into a 2-time MVP through sheer work ethic. Nikola Jokic, now reigning over the league with his unique style and unstoppable dominance. What do they all have in common? They sacrificed comfort. They sacrificed off-seasons. They dedicated themselves fully to their craft. Luka is carrying that same torch. He understands that his spotlight is global. He isn't just representing the Lakers or his NBA franchise. He's representing Slovenia. He's representing the pride of Europe. And in a sense, he's representing every international player who ever dreamed of making it in the NBA. Stephen A.'s commentary is essentially saying that Luka's commitment to conditioning reflects that international mindset. He knows what it means to carry the weight of 2 continents on his shoulders. American-born stars, at times, have the luxury of taking things for granted. International players don't. Every time Luka steps on the court, he represents millions who view him as a national hero. That kind of pressure could break most players. But for Luka, it fuels him. Stephen A. is also highlighting a contrast here. He's pointing out, even indirectly, that Luka's approach to conditioning and improvement is something many American-born players should study. Luka isn't waiting until he's 30 to take his fitness seriously. He's doing it now, right as he enters his prime. That shows wisdom, maturity, and a mentality built for greatness. Applauding Luka for this decision is applauding growth, discipline, and leadership. He's setting an example for the next wave of stars, showing them that talent alone is never enough. You must sacrifice. You must commit. And above all, you must respect the game. By choosing to put conditioning first, Luka is sending a clear message to the entire league. I am here to dominate, not just for today, but for the long haul.
So if this is how he chooses to do it, I don't knock him. And not only that, I think it's important to remind everybody of what the international players should.
Stephen A. Smith nails one of the most overlooked truths about Luka Dončić and international stars in general: their deep, unshakable commitment to representing their countries. Luka isn't just an NBA superstar. He is the face of Slovenian basketball, the symbol of a nation that lives and breathes through him. And unlike many American stars who treat international play as optional, Luka treats it as sacred. Stephen A. highlights that international players, unlike many Americans, never take wearing their national jersey for granted. They know their citizens hold them accountable. For Luka, suiting up for Slovenia is not a side project, it is a duty. Every summer, every competition, he gives everything he has, because he understands what it means to his people. That level of accountability is different. In America, fans are satisfied if their superstar delivers an NBA title. In Slovenia, Luka is expected to deliver at both levels, the NBA and the international stage. That dual expectation breeds a different kind of greatness. When Luka steps on the court for Slovenia, he brings the same intensity and passion that he brings to the Lakers. He isn't protecting a brand. He isn't worried about endorsement deals. He's worried about pride, the pride of a nation counting on him. And that pride fuels him. It drives him to work harder, to sharpen his conditioning, and to never cheat the game. Stephen A. is telling the audience that this is what separates international stars from so many of their American counterparts. Luka embodies it perfectly. While American players often withdraw from tournaments, citing rest or nagging injuries, Luka never does. His national identity is inseparable from his basketball identity. That creates a different hunger, a different accountability. When your entire nation views you as their leader, there's no room to slack off. You can't coast. You can't take shortcuts. You owe them everything. Luka plays with that weight on his shoulders, and instead of breaking, he thrives under it. This is why Luka's conditioning and commitment matter so much. He isn't just trying to win for himself or his NBA team. He's honoring Slovenia, proving that a small country can produce one of the greatest players of all time. And Stephen A. is right, this stuff matters. Luka represents a level of dedication American fans often wish their stars had. He is proof that when talent meets national pride, the result is unstoppable.